Alright, so, welcome to Stage 5, the Alleyway Watchdog. Uh, this fight is another, abnormality fight. Most of the ones, for the rest of the railway are going to be abnormality fights for the most part. Uh, and kind of just like with, the Toad, your strategy is to pick the weakest part of the wolf, burn it down as quick as possible, and then just target that while tanking most of the other attacks. So what we are going to be targeting is the wolf's head, which has a very pitiful amount of health. The wolf's head, I'll just read the resistances for the head, because that's mostly what we're going to be targeting here. It endures blunt and pierce, but it is weak to slash for the physical. And then for the sin resistances, gloom is ineffective, but it is weak to wrath, and it is fatal to pride. So if that doesn't ring any bells, weak to slash and fatal to pride. Enough said, I think. So obviously, Cloud Cutter is going to absolutely shred the Alleyway Watchdog. Other characters you can bring, ye old trifecta, always pretty standard. And then for your fifth, you can kind of choose whichever one you want. You can choose not to bring a fifth. It's completely reasonable if you don't want to. If you were to not bring a fifth, you'd probably want the fifth slot to go on either Don Quixote or Hong Lu, just so you can spam Rip Space or Cloud Cutter more. But if you were to bring a fifth, just any slash identity will do. Slash Wrath will help. So if you have like Blade Lineage Sinclair, or if you choose to use Blade Lineage Isong, that could be pretty helpful. Let me just check my Wrath resources. We have 11, so we can actually go in here with, what's her name? Ryoshu. And we can use her 4th Match Flame, which is slash Wrath, and get a ton of damage done. So we can do that if we so choose. You can also just go in with Gregor. You can go in with Otis, because, she has a slash skill as well. It is normal to slot, so Field Command will actually just deal pretty good damage. And of course, once you get the head burned down, all of the physical resistances turn into fatal. So, and because the head burns down so quickly, you don't really have to worry too much about the physical resistances. So, for this run, we'll go with Otis, for this one, I think. And we'll just jump right in. Hopefully, what you're looking for in like a good run is just Cloud Cutter in the opening hand. Is pretty much all you need to get going. Unfortunately, we don't have Cloud Cutter in the opening hand, but we do see it coming up next turn. So, it's not the end of the world. But if you don't see Cloud Cutter in your opening hand, you kind of want to just clash with a bunch of stuff. The general advice is to look kind of at what attacks he's doing, where they're going, and kind of you want to clash with like the worst ones. So you see Claw targeting Hong Lu. He's nowhere close to staggering, obviously, and Claw does not have a damage bonus. 3 to 13, we don't care. Same with Otis, 3 to 11, not close to staggering, so we don't really care. But some of these heavy hitting attacks you do want to clash with. So we're going to be doing a little bit of damage control here, hopefully. Let's see here. We can still do some good damage to the head here, but we do kind of want to at least clash with some of these. So we'll go here and here, and Otis obviously kind of just tends to dominate whichever clashes she goes up against. So yeah, we'll do something like this. And next turn, Cloud Cutter will enable us to kind of go off very, very quickly. And you can see the head is very weak. You can just see, like, Cloud Burst just did, like, a solid, like, quarter of its health. So, we'll get some good damage in here. Again, it is fatal to Pride, so, so even things that aren't Cloud Cutter will do good damage, but it's already, the head is already like half HP, you can see, so even without Cloud Cutter, you can imagine it's not very tanky at all. The head is back here this time, and we'll see what we can make happen. Probably want to clash with Otis. Yeah, there's a lot of nasty things going on here, so we probably want to be clashing with some of these. We can even use Pathos, or we could use Ebony Stem too, if we so choose. So let's see. All of these are coming from the body, so Ebony Stem is suboptimal, unfortunately. So we'll use Pathos, and we'll see which one is the worst at the moment. It's looking like Otis is actually quite tanky. Her stagger is very forgiving, so we can actually kind of tank some of these. We can, if this rolls tails, we can tank this. We can tank probably. Let's see here. Can we tank constant voltage? We could easily tank constant voltage. We probably want to clash with Claw here, and then we can easily tank this Claw, and we could probably tank this Claw. So Cloud Cutter, no matter what, goes over there. We could probably win this clash here. And other than that, we're kind of just looking at some high damage numbers here.
여행엔 목적이 있었지.
And you can see Cloud Cutter doing a ton of damage here. So for the turn count of this fight, it's kind of heavily dependent on RNG. Like who the wolf targets will dictate how much you can tank and how much you have to clash with. Other than that, there's also the skill RNG that you get. Like you can obviously tell that getting Cloud Cutter early into the fight is very important. Like you see, we have another Cloud Cutter coming up, but we have 2 cleaves here, which is very unlucky. So you know, there's a lot of RNG elements, unfortunately, for this. But for the most part, your turn count is probably going to be looking something like, you could go anywhere from, like, 3. You can get anywhere from 3 to, like, 5. It really depends on what RNG you get. But for this turn, we're probably just looking at tanking. He has very low speed, and we don't really care if Faust gets staggered, because she's mostly done her job. We could even use Hexnail, but she has the lowest speed, unfortunately. So we're not going to be profiting too much off of that. But the... Oh no. Oh, no. But next turn, if you didn't notice, we had Cloud Cutter and we have Quick Suppression. That's why we use Body Sack. So, you know, we can probably clean this one up very quickly next turn, no matter what happens here. Yeah, Faust will get staggered. It hardly matters, I reckon. I don't think she'll be needed for this turn. We should probably be able to end it here. Cloud Cutter, unfortunately, did not outspeed these attacks, so we're going to be taking some damage. But, you know, it's whatever. It's looking like we're not going to be able to kill Watchdog here, unfortunately. Quite alright. It's just because of that rip space hitting like only tails was truly unfortunate. But you can see Cloud Cutter does... Oh, 2 health! What an absolute shame. What an absolute shame. But, you know, again, it's quite alright if all of our dudes get staggered. We don't really care too much. As long as one of them is able to finish this guy off next turn, we're fine. So, yeah, we should be good here. And then, yeah, we'll clash with this or something. Whatever. 2 HP, huh? Oh well. Turn 5 kill. It is what it is. Again, this stage can go anywhere from like 3 turns to 5 turns. So, you know, there was a lot of RNG there, unfortunately, but we still made it. And we're not in terrible shape because, next stage is robot, and you know what that means. So I'll see you in stage 6.